Whether it's
Sports.
Fantasy football.
the Detroit Lions.
There's a sub for that. Welcome to the front podcast of the internet.
He's your host, Willy Sweetness Mattson.
And he's your other host, Scott, look at that body, Gurrola.
And joining us today is our very special guest, Jason Veni Vidi Vici Vincent.
You asked, so I came. I saw. I plan to conquer.
Oh, what does that mean?
Vidi
Tell me
Vici.
later. We're a show all about Reddit.
Covering all the ups and down votes in hopefully 30 minutes.
If you like the show, you can find more of us.
On our TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram.
Or in line at Starbucks. I get a pumpkin spice latte before all the teenage girls get in line and get all the sweet cream.
I was going to make a sweet cream joke, but you said teenagers. Jason, you and I, we don't know each other. Is this how you expected the introduction to go? Quite literally an hour and 20 minutes of recording.
You know, I expected a little more streamlining, but
Okay.
not a bunch. I've known Scott since 2007 or 2005. September 19th, September 16th, mid-September 2005. I kind of knew what I was getting into.
We were hired in August, but they didn't actually give us the job until a month later.
You guys both worked
Strange.
at the same job? What did you do?
Ooh, this is something we can talk about because we no longer have these jobs, but we worked for
Yep.
that big red dot local sponsor.
Oh.
That one everybody in this regional area kind of tends to work for, or their parents worked for, or they used to work for. We used to work for.
And one that I didn't even know was headquartered in Minnesota until I applied for the job.
You both worked for the big red Minnesota dog. You got to know each other in 2005. I was still in high school.
What are you trying to say?
That probably half of our listeners are still in high school. So we're all collectively old.
You know, the funny story about Jason and I's friendship is that we happen to watch similar TV shows. And one of them just happened to be the cultural phenomenon known as Lost. Jason, do you want to tell the listening audience what we did for that show and what we did for the company?
So we're nerds. Just to preface, nerds do nerd things. We would actually have lunches each week after the episode would air, and we would invite people from other areas. So knowing thousands of people work there, we'd have partners, peers, friends that also we gained over our time at the company in a Lost lunch talking about theories within the show. So this is real message board. I mean, you know, Reddit, there were probably subreddits, but it wasn't the phenomenon that it is now and that
Right.
cultural touch point that Reddit is now. So back then, occasionally we would get a blog post from some guy over here that had pulled together all these different theories, and we would kind of just share it and go, what do you guys think? Nerd stuff.
Yeah. We were getting invites from across the company, from people at different levels, like management levels, director levels, like that wanted to come in and talk about the show. When people who had much higher salaries than us were asking if they could get invited to this, little nerd lunch hour, it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. And we started booking bigger rooms, and we'd have to book rooms. At first, it was like 4 to 7 people. And then over lunch, we had up to like 20, 25 people in a corporate boardroom talking about Lost theories a day or two after the show aired.
I have 2 questions for both of you. Number 1, tell me about Lost because I never watched it.
Lost was the Pontiac vibe of television shows. Either you really loved it or you really didn't like it, and it was all just based on your style.
Hey, I get that because the first girl I ever hooked up with was in a Pontiac. Just want to throw that out there.
Must have been uncomfortable.
It was yeah.
For
I mean,
who?
at the time, wait a minute.
For the Pontiac?
The other thing that I was going to ask, I guess, do you miss getting together in big groups to talk about shows? We have a lot of shows today that you might be able to deep dive into. I know that like Marvel is putting out a new show all the time. Disney, I guess, is putting out a new show all the time. You have Andor that just released this week. You've got Netflix putting out shows, HBO reprising Game of Thrones. Do you think that a show like Lost can happen today and get together such a melting pot of people?
I do think that television shows, the way they are built now, and the way we can connect virtually, we can have some of the same conversations, but I don't think you can have the same passion as you might in person. A lot of people are more used to that anonymity, that you can say things, whatever you want, in the Twitter sphere, in Twitter rooms, in any of those instances, you can make fun of anyone. When you're in a room with someone, you not only have to make a point, you also have to understand that you're talking to other people who may have differing views on that point, and you have to be able to stand up for that conversation face to face. So the conversations are still happening in a way, but I do think it's just a different style of conversation. I would say back then there were probably less trolls about that conversation, because you were specifically in Target. Once we left that lunchroom, put my tie back on, go back to my desk, go back to Outlook, send my emails, do whatever I got to do until 5 p.m. Now I can log in and out whenever I want to, but never during work hours, and have a conversation with anyone, and it can be just that much longer.
I certainly miss it. It was kind of more about the community, really. All right, so there's no use delaying the inevitable. Last week, Willy and I decided to play a little game. That game was Predict the Post. And the idea was to figure out what subreddit was going to be the top post of the week at the time of recording. I checked in maybe like 3 or 4 days ago, and I was just like, son of a bitch. Willy was able to successfully predict the post because of this one story.
Hold on, Scott. We have a guest. So I want to ask, Jason, the point of this bit is, what do you think the top subreddit will be of next week? I made a guess. Scott made a guess. We know that I won, but you might not know what that subreddit is. What do you think the top subreddit is of this week?
I would think world news, or I don't know how much still the Queen's passing is skewing viewership. I would say our England, our UK, something along those lines, or our world news.
That might have been a more thoughtful answer than what Scott and I gave, because Scott, you said, what did you say?
I did. Damn, that's interesting. I'm pretty sure.
And I said next fucking level. So briefly, the top post this week by a significant margin is
Huge.
Iranian woman burning their hijabs after a 22-year-old was killed by the morality police. I can't think of a better story on Reddit to be the top post, not because of the horrendous acts that happened, but for the fact of the entire country coming together to say this is something that is meaningful and we need to make change. But I'm also an idiot, so.
The odds, I guess, I didn't look into them enough. I'm bad at math. I've said that 100 times on the show. I thought maybe we would play this back and forth, and it would be a couple weeks before maybe one of us got lucky, but he just pegged it. Full stop.
That's what I want you to do.
This bachelor party is going to be weird.
So I thought I had a good idea for this game, but now game's dead because I don't want to play this anymore.
Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we going to do now? What are we going to do?
0-1. You're 0-1. Take the L.
I know. So while we're not qualified to talk about that, something we are qualified to talk about as three middle-aged, whitish males.
Speak for yourselves.
Willy, I talked to your doctor.
I'm sitting on the couch. You guys talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
You're middle-aged, my friend.
Is your back hurting?
I'm fine.
Take some leave. Well, the adults are here. Scott.
Yeah.
What'd you think about sports this past weekend?
Jason, I want to talk about our local football teams that played this past week. I am a casual Vikings fan, have been since they traded Randy Moss. The biggest blight on the franchise, if you ask me. You are from Michigan, and therefore were cursed with Detroit Lions fandom.
Correct.
I just want to know, what's it like being a Lions fan?
Positive news. The Lions are the third highest scoring team in the league thus far, right? So they're 1-2 now after this week. So that's a positive change. They're scoring points that can win games, because I don't know if you guys knew this about sports, is whoever scores more typically wins. It's a weird thing. That's normally how it works. So good for the Lions for that. The negative thing is the NFL's Lions do what NFL's Lions do. They lose games all the time. This weekend, the Lions lost more than the Vikings won. I think that's an important consideration. The Vikings won, but the Lions lost much harder. They gave them that towards the end there. What's interesting also about that game was the Vikings, to their credit, overcame 10-point deficits twice in that game, which is very uncommon in NFL. And it's only like the second or first time, since the late 70s. So it's not a common thing, especially in a team like Detroit, who has played better, but who is not obviously a quality NFL team thus far. They have talent, just not enough.
Jason is very popular on Twitter for a Barry Sanders reference. Do you want to tell the audience about that?
I made a good tweet one time. So a couple years back, before the 2020 election, Garth Brooks was in Detroit playing at Ford Field. And for his encore, he came out in a Barry Sanders jersey, probably top 10 best talented players in the NFL all time, wore the number 20. His last name being Sanders on the back of the jersey. A lot of people don't also know is that Barry Sanders and Garth Brooks both also went to Oklahoma State together and were college roommates at some point.
Wow, what? I did not know that.
So Garth Brooks.
You're telling me that an NFL star was roommates with a country music star? That doesn't happen.
Country music superstar.
The only time you get stars together of that caliber are Scott Gurrola and Willy. I can't finish that.
And that's why I'm here, to just bring it down. You guys are just much too powerful.
At least we're all on the same page.
Garth is a country musician, and the country music fans tend to skew one way more than the other, in general speaking. And people took it as a representation of Bernie Sanders instead of Barry Sanders. So the Instagram comments and the Twitter comments just began rolling about you shouldn't take sides. We want the other guy to win. There's a lot of common spelling errors in those tweets too, in case you're wondering. People had already forgotten this was his damn jersey of probably the greatest athlete that's been in your city since Joe Louis in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, sliced bread.
So pretty much the most incredible athlete they've ever had, not counting maybe Calvin Johnson since. But I retweeted it and mentioned maybe some people just didn't realize who it was. For the next weekend, I probably got 2 million views on that tweet with like 250,000 likes, a number of retweets. What was interesting was it took off slowly. A couple people caught it. A couple hours later, I was like, a couple hundred. That had been my most impactful, I believe, when I was promoted on your channel once, when Scott described who I was, he called me a shit poster, which is true, a Twitter shit poster. And by that night, I had thousands of retweets, thousands of likes, and I could actually begin to tell when a popular or a celebrity account would see it, because my phone would vibrate for minutes on end because I didn't turn off the notifications. My wife was like, "What is going on with your phone? What did you do?" I was like, "I was kind of a jerk on the internet and I made fun of some people, and now people are liking it. I don't know."
Best part of the internet.
Having reached a decent level of internet notoriety, Scott and I remember the moment, Jason, where we said, you know what, let's try this whole TikTok thing. We put up a couple of videos, they went nowhere, and then Scott's like, I got an idea, and he puts a post up there, And I wake up in the morning.
Feeling like P. Diddy.
I swear to God, it's the earliest Scott has ever got up in his life. It's like 6 in the morning. And he's like, dude, go look at our TikTok. And it was like 5,000 views. And he's like, this is amazing. 40 minutes later, we crossed 10,000. An hour after that, 100,000. We're losing our shit. But by like a week later, that one post is over 1 million. And it was like, I can't show my face in public anymore.
I do remember that because I was trying to do TikTok at the same time. I maybe created my account a week before yours. I was like, I have 15 followers. And I follow Scott. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And then I started looking at your account. I was like, what am I doing wrong? This son of a bitch.
This son of a bitch. So I know very little about sports, to be fair. And
You love hockey.
Jason, this is for you. Scott, earmuffs. How deep does your sports love go? I loved playing sports because it kept me active, but I had such a hard time following all the different people. So I'm not a good person to say, like, I know everybody on the Minnesota Wild.
I've loved sports since I was maybe 10 years old. Background on me, grew up with a single parent. My mom took care of us from a very young age. It was the 3 kids. I didn't know much about sports up until 8 or 9. One of my best friends and his family were terrific at sports. His older brother pitched college baseball, like maybe had some minor league stints. My buddy who I grew up with, honestly, I'd call him my best friend since we were 2. He was a great high school athlete, had recruitments, didn't work out. But having hung out with them, I started loving sports. The Tigers were very popular in the 80s. They won, a few World Series. I've been participating in sports as well. I was the kid that always got hurt. I'd play I have stitches here. I've broken both wrists. I've torn an ankle. Like I've done a number of injuries throughout my many years of playing sports. And I've always loved doing that more than watching it. But now I've been a Timberwolves season ticket holder through the most difficult period of the Timberwolves franchise existence over the last, I think this will be year 14. To now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Since the year after Kevin Garnett left, we've been season ticket holders. Actually, Scott and I, we were seatmates. It was my wife, myself, and Scott. We had 3 seats together for the first 2 seasons, I think.
Yep.
They were nearly giving away season tickets at that point. It was a promotion called Pay the Pick. And for anyone that's not familiar with the Timberwolves, they're terrible. They've been terrible. We were the 3 pick that year. So my season tickets that year were $156.
Which is
for
crazy
season tickets.
For NBA level season tickets.
Hold on.
They weren't good seats, mind you, but we were
seats. There. Yeah.
Yep.
You're telling me that season tickets for the entire season, not a game, was $156?
After taxes.
Yes.
Do a quick little Google search for how much season tickets are for like the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't even know if they put the prices online.
StubHub, maybe.
Well, I mean, you don't have to look it up, Willie, because basically $156 gets you into 1 game now, like you were saying.
Maybe.
A single seat.
Nosebleeds.
And even Wolves tickets are much more expensive now, other than, their Wednesday college nights or whatever it is.
Inflation.
But that's the price of business. Yeah. You got to keep the doors open. You got to pay the people.
Okay, Jason, I have a really important question to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to one of the things you said, you broke both of your wrists.
I was 7. 7 for this one, teens for this one. So
you did not break them at the same time? You are not the world's most
famous
have a
dog.
Reddit ghost?
I actually saw that reference today. A guy posted a picture of himself, and he's like, I got hurt. Only the deepest Reddit people know what this story means, because he had 2 braces on. And everybody was asking, how is your mom?
Oh,
where's the dog?
The legend continues. Let me ask you this. Jason knows about football. Willie, you're not too familiar with football, but
okay.
Can you do me a favor? Can you do me a favor and close your eyes? Can
How
you
long?
name? Yep. Just
Keep
closing.
going.
Can you name 5 NFL football teams?
You're such a dick. Okay.
All right, put your fingers up.
Seattle Seahawks, Minnesota
That's one.
Vikings,
Ding.
Green Bay Packers.
Thank you.
Come
2,
on.
3.
I'm not gonna do the Detroit Lions because
Okay,
you got.
I was afraid. Oh, you put your finger up though.
Okay, god damn it, son of a bitch. The Browns.
From
Where do they play?
Oh god. God, it's by us.
Close.
Why did I pick the Browns? There's so much the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just gonna
there we
skip the
go.
Browns.
That's 4. There we go. One more. Come on. You can do it.
I believe in you.
The Texans.
From
Austin. Oh god, they're from Texas.
Yep.
This is so stupid.
Those Texans. That's right.
Can you think of any like East Coast?
Miami Falcons.
Nope.
Nope, Miami.
It's going
I'm
so
so
well.
sweaty right now, guys. I'm
Who
legitimately sweaty.
Who did Dan Marino play for?
Dolphins. The Dolphins. Miami Dolphins.
There you
That's
go.
a team.
Yes.
Ugh.
You're still a team. You did it.
Can I level the playing field for just a minute?
Sure.
Do you know the top chess player in the world? It's a sport, all right? I have a statement to read, but I need to know the current top reigning leader in chess.
Gary Kasparov.
Deep Blue.
It's Magnus Carlsen.
Oh yeah. I thought he was the
Wasn't-
guy who lifted the big rocks.
That's
onto
Magnus
the-
von Magnuson.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
See,
man.
All right, so if you're unfamiliar with the controversy, he was in a chess tournament and he lost, which is incredibly rare for Magnus. And he kind of bowed out midway through the match. He's playing this like young teenager. A week later, he goes to play another tournament. He is opposed by this same guy. That guy plays one move. Magnus leaves the tournament, says, I'm out. He finally broke his silence today, and he said, Dear Chess World, I made the unprecedented professional decision to withdraw from the tournament after my round 3 game against Hans Niemann. That's the young kid. A week later, during the championship chess tournament, I resigned against Hans Niemann after playing only one move. I know that my actions have frustrated many in the chess community. I'm frustrated. I want to play chess. I want to continue to play chess at the highest level in the best events. Fast forwarding, he says, we must do something about cheating. And for my part going forward, I don't want to play against people that have cheated repeatedly in the past because I don't want what they are capable of doing in the future. Did either of you know that cheating in chess was an option?
Do you remember that scene in Ocean's 11 where he's trying to beat the polygraph and he has the push pin in his shoe and he starts sweating?
Yeah. Yep.
I think that was the idea behind it, is that there was some sort of apparatus on him that could buzz him to give him the right move through code.
that's what I heard as well. The rumor is the apparatus was in a place basically where they don't check. Like, because they will check for listening devices and they will kind of do like a TSA pat down. If he was cheating and it was from a remote controlled device, not a lot of places it could have been. This episode is brought to you by
Sex World. There's a couple other stories, and I just want some hot takes from both of you real quick here. One, can we talk about the drama surrounding Brett Favre? What's the perspective that both of you have, and can you share for our listeners what I'm talking about?
My understanding is that his daughter plays volleyball for a college. He wanted to then get the state to pay for a better facility. How they got that money was impacting that state's welfare, and that welfare money that would go to poor families. It has actually come out today that he'd actually asked for more money for another facility as well. In true Brett Favre fashion, he was texting things. For anyone that doesn't remember his stint with the Jets and the reporter, he was also busted for texting things to a female reporter.
He texted a picture of you, Mr. Mattson.
What? Me?
Yes.
You
His
weren't wearing much.
throwing pics and texting Willies.
Hey now,
This is
macro
what dreams are
photography
made
wasn't around back then, all right?
Got to zoom in with the phone. 2 fingers. Zoom.
Obviously, that's a terrible thing for Mr. Favre to do. And I'm saying Mr. Favre because I believe that's what he's going to be called in court in the near future.
All right, I want to leave the sports discussion on a positive note. Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal were photographed after Federer's last professional match. Did you guys see this photo?
Yes.
Were they kissing? Because there's a lot of fanfic out there that would be cool with it. It's my fanfic.
Nadal and Federer have a bromance, and it's a strong bromance. They were once enemies and have, through the heat of battle, become great friends.
When I was in high school, we had an all-American athlete who was a wrestler. He would go to state every single year, and every year he would face the same person at the final match. In his senior year, his brother was battling cancer, and as a sign of respect, his opponent forfeited the match. Not forfeited, but like did one of those things where like he walks up and he like taps him and he falls over. And I think about this match like it's the best sportsmen within their field having respect for each other, but still willing to compete, but knowing when humanity needs to come first. Are you guys of the opinion that in order for sports to be fun, they always need to be competitive, or should there be that humanity first?
One side of me says, hurt him. You want to win. That's what you've been trained to do your entire life. As an athlete, it's always go for it, win, whatever it takes. It's good to hear someone, even in high school at that time, could have that type of composure and understanding of the much bigger picture. I don't like to equate sports with war or fighting because it's never that. But it's always interesting the amount of respect that competitors will give each other simply because they've spent so much time fighting against each other. Off the court, I'm sure they're friends. Having seen the photo, thank you for sharing it. It's a beautiful photo because not only is it the end of one person's career, it's also the end of that competitorship.
There's also a little bit of him that he probably sees in the near future because he's not going to play forever either. I don't want to talk about the corporate side of things, like how at a certain level you're paid contractually, so you have to honor that. Like just because somebody's like head coach's mom is dying of cancer, like the other team's not going to forfeit and just let them have that win. So the money wins. That's what we're saying here.
Thank you so much to our sponsor this week, Jason, for the additional $5.
Appreciate
Send me
it.
your Venmo links. I'll make sure to share it.
Because we have a guest this week, we're going to change things up and we're going to play a little game. We've kind of made the theme of the show sports, so it's going to be Jason versus Willy in a sports trivia match-off. Dun, 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 dun. Now,
This isn't fair.
it's 100% fair because what I did is I didn't go into like the most deep dive of sports trivia. No, it's just going to be a general sports trivia. You've got a chance. One of you is going to flip a coin, or you can do age before beauty. Figure that one out.
So, Jason, if you win, does that mean you get to be best man?
No. I'm just
not?
talking about. I'm glad I brought you guys here today. Two will enter. One will leave.
All right. So I am good at pulling up the website to flip a coin. So what we're gonna do is
whoever's gonna go first gets to flip the coin. Jason actually has a coin. Wow, he's listening to the show.
Oh, you first. All right, you go. I'm ready. Flip it, and I'll call it. Heads.
Show the camera.
It's gotta be.
Show the camera.
Tails.
Tails.
All right, you go first.
So I'm gonna ask Jason a question. If he gets it wrong, Willie gets a chance to answer it and get the point. Question number 1. What is the diameter of a basketball hoop in inches?
I have something to measure this against.
It's Bandit.
Oh,
18.
That is correct.
What? This is an unfair game.
Okay, I honestly didn't
This
think
is
you were
bullshit.
going to get that. All right, but Willy,
What sport do I play 2 to
and
3
have
times a
season
week?
and have season tickets too.
Okay, fine. I'm ready.
That was just pure luck. You could have gotten that one, Willy.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyone could do it.
Question number 2 goes to Willy. The Olympics are held every how many years?
4 every 4. Well, summer games every 4 years, winter games every 4 years, but they're every 2 years technically by season.
Let's just pick one Olympics.
Okay, every 4 years.
Thank you. Okay. You almost talked yourself out of it.
I
All
just
right, it's
didn't want to
1-1.
lose.
Jason, what is known as the king of sports?
Ram trucks? No,
It's got a
Ram trucks.
You're going to get us branded
king?
content warning again. King of
I apologize.
sports.
Sorry. Brought to you by the king of sport. I know what the king of beers. I know the king of trucks. I know the king of
Allison
spades.
transmission. You can take as long as you
Cricket.
want. We'll edit out. Cricket is incorrect. Willy, you have a chance for a steal.
Futbol with a U. Soccer.
That is correct. And by the way, if any of you are cheating, I'm going to know.
Look at my hands. Look at them. They're up here.
So, Willy, that is correct. Soccer.
I
Where
am
I?
fueled by the urine that is flowing through my bladder right now. I can
Okay.
do this.
All right. Here we go. Question number 4. Willy, what do you call it when a bowler makes 3 strikes in a row?
A turkey.
That is correct.
Gobble, gobble, D's nuts.
Jason, what is the national sport of Canada?
Hockey.
That is incorrect. Willy, you have a chance for a steal.
Curling.
No,
It's curling.
That was gonna be my backup.
no, that's also incorrect. The answer. Wait, come back.
No,
All right.
that's
the answer is
bullshit.
lacrosse. It's actually lacrosse.
What?
I know. I know.
No,
Super
they're not
weird.
that douchey.
Apparently they are. Willy, I believe the ball is yours. How many dimples does the average golf ball have? This one's hard, so I'm just gonna say whoever has the closest guess wins
Oh.
the point. Closest without going over.
So diameter of the ball is about 192 dimples.
192. Jason,
37.
the correct answer is 336, which means
Oh,
Willy gets the point.
That's a lot of holes.
Crushing me. After
4-1.
all that time he's planning, he sandbagged me. That's
All right. Jason, what country has competed the most time in the Summer Olympics yet hasn't won a gold medal? The answer may surprise you.
Greece.
That is incorrect. Willy for the steal.
Is the winner the closest country? The closest.
Geographically speaking, yeah.
I was gonna say
Does
Jamaica.
anyone-
Jamaica, the team that had Usain Bolt on it.
He won the medal. So technically, Willie just went on the over.
Give Jason the point. Let's do that.
You're both incorrect. It's Philippines. Willy, the 1980 classic movie Raging Bull is about which real-life boxer?
19. What year?
1980.
Muhammad Ali.
Incorrect. Jason for the steal.
Marciano.
Close, but it's Jake LaMotta.
Lamada.
Never heard that name in my life.
Jason, the Triple Crown is given to a horse that wins which 3 races?
The Belmont. The Kentucky Derby.
I will give you 3 points if you get this one right.
The Downs. I can't think of it.
Willy, can you steal it?
The Legend of Beggar Vance.
Very close. It's the Preakness. The Preakness.
What is that?
It's a race.
It's a
that
race.
If you win it, you get part of the Triple Crown.
Okay, got it. Horse racing. Not something I care about.
All right. I gave Jason a chance to tie. I like to be fair, but I also like to be dastardly. So next one to answer this question wins. It is another closest to, and it is, how many medals did China win at the Beijing Olympics?
Total medals?
Closest. Yes, how many total medals, closest without going over, will win the game and be Trivia Master 2022.
112.
Oh, I was way off. I'm not going to change my guess just because you said 112. I was going to say 8.
actual retail price of the medals won at the Beijing Olympics by China, 100 medals. Jason went over. Willy wins by a close margin of 98. And believe it or not, here you thought you knew nothing. Congratulations, Sports Trivia Master 2022.
Get that man a trophy.
Scott, it feels really good to win for the first time in my life. After the week that I've had, I really needed this. And you have no idea. Thank you so much. I know. Me too, Jason.
I'll stand behind you like the competitor.
Yeah. Jason, thank you so much for coming onto the show today. I love you as a friend, as a brother. You three who will be representing me at the wedding. Chris is not here right now.
Oh,
are some of my closest and dearest friends that, I treasure more than you'll ever know, because I don't say it often enough, but I'm saying it here and now in front of the world that I appreciate you. And I'm glad that we have stayed connected, even though I would have liked to seen you more. But you're a jet setter, man. You're a worldwide tweeter. I can't keep up. But thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. To Scott, I'm sorry you don't have better friends. Honestly, the bar is so low.
That's true. That's true. I agree.
Willy, this is actually the first time I've met Willy.
Yeah.
I'm going to hug him when I see him. I don't know what the future is. I won't bring my chess set. I won't bring my tennis rackets. I'll just bring a smile. But again, obviously, really appreciate you guys having me on. I'm happy to come on anytime you need to break up the monotony of all that hardcore dance. It's gotten to be a little bit out of control. But if you need help, I'm here. But really appreciate it. Super professional guys. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today.
Find more of us on our socials.
And we'll see you next week.